Okay, well, good evening. The Montgomery Amateur Radio Club here in Maryland is proud to present Paul N3RQV, who is here to kick off planning for our annual field day. This will be the 9th year our club holds its field day jointly with the terrific Damascus Emergency Communications Team, which is part of the Damascus Volunteer Fire Department. Paul has kindly agreed to coordinate this year's field day, and as you all know, he also coordinates our public service events, as well as being very active in the local amateur radio community. So thank you, Paul, for all you do for amateur radio and for our club. So now it's over to you.
Thank you, Alex. Unmute myself. I have a presentation I'd like to go through discussing just kind of some of the points in field day, what's new, what's different, and some basic information. So this year, as in, I think 8 of the 9 last years, we're partnering with the Damascus Emergency Communications Team to have the field day up in the whatever we decided to call it, Damascus Volunteer Fire Department Fairgrounds Pavilion. So what is field day? If you haven't already looked on the ARRL field day site, you should do that. You can download a packet. It's got all the rules. It's got all the information. You'll see that field day is officially an operating event, not a contest, although a lot of people treat it as a contest. The purpose is to demonstrate communications ability of the radio community in a simulated emergency situation. So we should keep that in mind when we do the planning, decide who's going to operate, how they're going to operate, where they're going to operate. The field day this year runs from 2 p.m. on Saturday, June 25th to 2 p.m. on Sunday. It's got HF bands, not the work bands, but the other HF bands, the VHF and UHF. And there are 3 modes: phone, CW, and digital modes. The changes for 2022, whoever the field day stations are limited to a maximum of 100 watts peak envelope power, regardless of your operating class. In the past, you could use amplifiers on HF rigs and VHF rigs. This year, you're limited to 100 watts. Class D, which are home stations, can contact any other station, including other home stations, for QSO points. Media publicity bonus points have been changed to make it a lot easier. We'll go over that a little later. And individual stations can contribute their scores to an aggregate club score. So even if you're operating from home or mobile or Class B or any other class, you can list the Mark Club, excuse me, for your club, and it will add to the club score that we're going to have. Categories: Club Portable is what we operate at. There's also a Class A battery, which we won't be using. Class B is 1 or 2 people mobile. Class C, literally you can drive around and operate field day. Class D, home stations. Class E, emergency power, and F, emergency operations center. The scoring, because even though it's not a contest, we do score it. It's the total number of QSO points times the power multiplier plus the bonus points. So real quickly, phone contacts 1 point, CW and digital 2 points. Power multiplier, if you're QRP using non-commercial, non-motor driven, it's 5. Otherwise, it's 2 points. Aggregate club score. Participants from any class can include the club name with their submission, and there'll be a separate aggregate club score issued by the ARRL at the end of the event. Bonus points, and there are a lot of ways to get bonus points, and we'll go over these in more detail, but 100% emergency power, which I don't think we'll be using. The media publicity, public location, public information table, which usually DEC runs, originating messages to the section chief, message handling, typically WinLink. Satellite QSOs, we've had a satellite station in the past. We're going to try to get that again this year. Alternate power, copying the W1AW bulletin, educational activity bonus, site visitations, both by government officials and representatives of served agencies, all the go to bonus points, web submission of the final scores, youth participation, social media, again, I think is easier this year, and the safety officer bonus. So a break from the writing, get a few pictures in. Again, Damascus Emergency Communication Team is partnering with us to run this event up in Damascus. It's still in Montgomery County, centrally located, easy to get to, in a very nice facility. If you've never been to the pavilion, this is what it looks like. It's a covered area, nice area to the north and south of it. This was 2020. We had the trailer up next to the pavilion. You can see the mast up above it, VHF stations. And in the background is the pavilion building, or not, the activities building. And the importance to us is there's a bathroom in there that we can get to. This is the pavilion from the side, and the big tower there is not our tower, and we don't get to hang things from it, but it is there. 2019, smiling faces. Nice day, everybody smiling. 2020, COVID, masks, social distancing. Even the photographer got way back to take the picture. So it was quite different the last two times we've been up there. The picture of the trailer on the left, which operated in 2019 from across the street, the south side of the road, and the satellite station on the right. All operations have to be within a 1,000-foot circle. You can see the pavilion in the center there, and the 1,000-foot circle encompasses well beyond any place we can get access to. So no problem with that. The pavilion itself is a little over 80 feet long. We typically set up stations along the north side of it, run through a patch panel out to the field here where the antennas. The 2-meter and meet and greet station, typically manned by deck, is right as you come in off the parking lot. This is what the meet and greet station looked like last year, 2021, when we were up in Cunningham Falls. It was under a tent there because we didn't have the pavilion to operate under. So the things we need to start doing is obtain a field day special call. And I think Mark did that, if I'm not mistaken, last time. And we'll see if we can't talk him into doing it this time. Identify operators, including the people Mark? Oh, okay. Including people operating in the trailer. Develop an operating plan. Discuss what we're going to do about logging. Food drinks have been, Alex will be doing those as in past years. And we're again looking at doing a Zoom virtual chat room. We did this in Winter Field Day. It seemed to be something everybody liked. So we'll be looking at doing that again and looking for volunteers for the bonus points. In identifying operators, we typically have operators who bring their equipment, their radios and their antennas. Which, when you think about this as an exercise in emergency response, that's, I think, what you would likely see. Members responding to emergencies, bringing their equipment with them. So, and we also need to identify what they need from Mark. Mark typically provides some equipment, grounding equipment, some other things. Some people look for antennas from Mark. If you have a radio, you want to come, you don't have an antenna, let us know and we can arrange to get one. Mark, trailer operations, we plan on having a club HF station, VHF, WinLink, and APRS stations. Some of the things we heard in the 2021 hot wash from last year, we need to inventory the trailer and identify any missing equipment or other requirements that we're going to need for field day in enough time to be able to acquire those things. and also conduct training in the mast and antenna assembly. At last year's field day, we had people who were willing to do the work to assemble the radios and get them up on the mast, and we were missing some equipment and weren't able to do that. We need to develop an operating plan once we know who's coming, what they're going to bring. We need to know the operators and the band and mode for the hours of operation. Since this is a club event, if you're bringing a radio, running a station, please consider teaming with other club members as operators, observers, or loggers. We need to have a mix of experienced operators and new operators. We always need to be growing the club, otherwise we're dying. And after we get the operators, the number of people that are going to be operating the number of radios simultaneously, we can determine the club entry category and what the exchange will be. After that, we have to develop a power plan, identify the generator requirements, available generators, and again, a couple hot wash things from last year: conduct training in the generator operation. Some people had trouble with the generators last year because they weren't familiar with them, and also procure additional fire extinguishers as needed from the hot wash last year. The grounding plan, again, the hot wash was looking for instructions on the surface wire grounding kit. And the next meeting, Tom is going to cover the grounding and other safety issues in that meeting. And develop an antenna plan. With antennas, ideally we have single band antennas. They radiate less, there's less of a problem interfering with other bands. But people tend to want to operate on whatever band is currently the best for that time of day and conditions. So we have to carefully look at what we have in the way of antennas, where we're going to put them, and how we limit interference. The club has certain bandpass filters, but I think there's only one set per band. So we'll have to develop that as we identify people who are going to be operating. We also need to talk about logging software, what we're going to use, how we're going to network them, or if we're going to network them. Again, one of the hot wash items was we need a new access point if we're going to do the networking, or we continue logging by hand or in the N1MM program and do the consolidation of the scores after the event. We also need to identify somebody to do the post consolidation and preparation of the entry and the entry submission. Food and drink, again, Alex is going to take care of those things as in the past. You will never starve at one of these events. Last year we had I think it was a 5-pound hamburger and a lot of other things, pizzas. Everybody's happy with the food. Virtual chat room. This we ran this during Winterfield Day. It's a ongoing Zoom meeting with scheduled times for people to get together. We need to identify a host for that and also need to schedule the conversations. This is what it looked like at Winterfield Day. We had a meeting scheduled every 3 or 4 hours during the day, both on Saturday into the evening and on Sunday morning. We'll have to update this picture. Instead of a polar bear, maybe a brown bear with a parasol and something other than a snowflake, strawberry or something. A lot of the bonus points that are available, we need volunteers to look into those things and how we're going to run those things. A quick review of what those are. The media publicity. The interesting thing this year is they're including Twitter, Facebook, social media things as media, as part of the media publicity. So actually posting on those sites, advertising that you're going to be running field day and what it is will get you those points. The public information table, again, 100 points deck typically takes care of that. Message to the section manager and the message handling. We have in the trailer WinLink capable equipment. We just need to have somebody volunteer to be sending out those messages. Satellite QSO. We've had satellite stations in the past. We're looking for a volunteer who runs a satellite station to come to the event, run the satellite station. Alternate power. You can get points for a minimum of 5 QSOs using non-commercial or petrol-driven generators. You can do this by taking one of the regular radios that you have operating, pulling it off from the power that it's running on, and using either solar, wind-driven to generate those QSOs and then adding it back. You don't have to add a radio to be able to get this alternative power. I know there are people in the club who have solar power, operate off of solar power, or batteries charged by solar power. We need one of those people to volunteer to bring that equipment and set up for the alternate power.
Paul, that's actually not necessary if we operate from the trailer. We have solar power that's always being charged by the panels, and anybody that uses a radio in the trailer using that power source, we're all set. But that doesn't mean people can't bring their solar power.
Yeah, good point. As long as we don't run the generator to charge the batteries, we're all set. Okay.
They really can't be charged by a generator because they're always being charged when it's, parked. I mean, when I was up there the other day, batteries were fully charged. Anyway, back to you.
Okay. We need somebody to volunteer to copy the W1AW bulletin. There's a schedule in the field day information packet of when they're going to broadcast the bulletin. We just need somebody to copy that. There's 100 points available for educational activities. They have to be formal activities, not just lectures, participatory activities. Site visitation by an agency served, probably the volunteer fire department we could get to come out. They've come out before to look at the APRS demo that was given in 2019. Go to bonus. Dave N3RQV is the one who takes care of the go to station. And we have between 500 and 1,000 points, depending on how many people, whether there's a monitor, those sort of things. So we're relying on Dave for the go to bonus. You can get 50 points for submitting the application, your final results over the web instead of by mail. Youth participation. If you can get operators under 18 years of age, you can get points for each one of those. Social media, again, you can post on social media. Oddly enough, you can post on your Facebook, Twitter page, but not on your website to get these points. And again, safety officer is 100 points. And from what I understand, Tom has volunteered to do that again this year. So to sign up to operate or for any of these, to assist with any of these things, set up, takedown, chasing bonus points, any related activities, drop me an email, n3rqv@arrl.net. And this is a club event, so all club members are welcome, whether you come to operate or just come to observe what's going on. The club is always happy to have people there. And that's it for the presentation. Are there any questions? What I'm going to be doing is probably tomorrow or Friday, send out an email over the reflector with this information and seeking volunteers to operate and to assist in field day. So this will all be posted and available on the email reflector.
Paul, this is Hank.
Yeah.
You had raised a question, I think, of you're looking for a moderator for the Zoom forum sessions that we used to do on Thursdays weekly when we went up towards field day.
No. we're looking for a moderator for the 24-hour Zoom session during field day.
I see, like we did for winter field day. Well, my
Yes.
question is, are we going to have planning sessions like we've done for all the previous field days where we had a forum that met on Thursdays, either on the repeater or on Zoom?
I think we're planning on doing the planning for field day during this meeting, the next one, and the 2 meetings we have scheduled in June.
Okay, very good.
So this is David W2LX. I have a question, not a question, more like an observation. So apparently the rules, the COVID rules, been extended. It's because you mentioned aggregate scores of people, individuals.
Yes.
Right. Well, so question: if I would, this double dipping, you got to be careful about the rules. So let's say if we record the bulletin and then I email it to you, somebody present at the field day site, do they get the bonus points too? I don't think so. That's kind
No,
of,
I think that would be cheating.
I guess double dipping, double test.
Unless you copy it from within 1,000 feet of the pavilion.
Ah, okay. Yeah, got it. It's kind of like deducting twice. Oh, I have to make a comment. Terry's brilliant. He got himself the right understudy. Right, Bill? A young man too, relatively speaking. So.
Yeah, Tom?
Yeah, I wanted to mention that I need 3 people who are current on their CPR, and like people to start thinking about that now and not wait for my presentation, because that's part of the safety bonus. We have to have somebody on the site at all times who's qualified in CPR. And I can cover the fire extinguisher portion of it.
Okay.
So I think that's covered, but, and I'll ask, did Alex get my email?
Are you asking me, Tom?
Yes, did you get the email about the helmets?
No.
Well, if you check,
Did you send it to my Gmail account? Because I hardly ever check that.
oh, well, that's where I sent it.
Oh, okay. Let me check. I'll check the Gmail account. Sorry about that.
All right. Should I take that off your address here and only use the AOL?
If you wouldn't mind, that would be great. Thank you.
Will do. Will
Because
do.
I check AOL all the time.
Okay, other questions?
Okay, I'm going to post a list of equipment I have available for loan, and mine is extensive, so that station coordinators can ask for, as far in advance as possible, the use of that equipment. I only have 2 requirements. One is that you transport the stuff you borrow, because my Prius, unlike my cargo van, is not up to the job. And the second is that you take responsibility for the equipment that you borrow and return it in the condition that you borrowed it.
Okay, are there any more questions for Paul? All right, great. Thanks, Paul. Terrific presentation. It's going to be a great field day. So, all right. Hope to see everybody there. And as always, the food will be terrific. All right. So thanks for joining us all tonight. That's the end of our meeting for tonight, and 73 to all.
Can I still ask a question?
Sure.